Welcome to this podcast, From Mess to Miracle. Christianity plays a huge role in the fabric of our lives. To be honest, life is messy. Yet in the midst of the mess, God still uses us. The fact that God does is a miracle. This podcast is designed to inspire you in your walk with God and connect you with people and ministries that could be a blessing in your life. You will hear inspiring stories of believers exercising their faith to create miracles in their community. Welcome to From Mess to Miracle. My guest today is Ricardo Kok. Ricardo is a dream expert who has based his knowledge in the field of theology and psychology, has been given practical tips to mainly young people for 16 years through lectures, training courses, guest lectures, television programs, theater shows, music, books, columns, and podcasts. Discover, realize, and to live out their dream and find out their purpose in life. We welcome Ricardo to the show. Welcome. Today, my guest is Ricardo. How you doing, Ricardo?
Hi, Keith. I'm doing very fine today. Good to be here, and it's a privilege to be on the show.
It's good to have you. So I'm going to give you an easy question to kind of warm you up. What's the best advice you've ever received?
The best advice I ever received. That's from a pastor and a big brother for me, and he said to me, Ricardo, you need a girlfriend or a wife who is a little less emotional than you are, because if not, it will clash.
That's probably good advice.
Yeah, that was a good advice.
You need a yin with your yang, right?
Yeah, but a special yang or special yin do I need.
Right. We all need balance in our life.
Yeah.
So tell us. Yeah, that's right. So tell us something about yourself that most people don't know.
Something about myself that most people don't know. So that's. Normally, most questions are very easy, but this is difficult because I'm very open and I speak a lot. But I think that most people, unless the people are close with me, don't know that until I was 18 years old, I was a professional hockey player, field hockey.
Wow.
In the Netherlands, and playing the youth national teams until I was injured for the second time. So, and I was the captain of the team. So, I think that most people don't know that.
Well, that's really
because
cool.
Because in Holland, field hockey is for the rich people.
Right. I would never would have guessed that.
I can imagine.
So for people who speak a lot like yourself, I always wonder, who are people that were major influences in your life?
For sure, on the one, my mother. I think 80% of the things I learned, they are, I get it when I raised up. I'm still amazed every day if I hear people don't learn some principles and some things and they don't got some knowledge. Even if it is in the theology, I'm a Christian, I study theology, or outside church, because I got it when I raised up. So for me, a lot of principles are so normal. So she's the major influence, and the pastor I early mentioned, he's a pastor of the church in the east of Holland, where I was been on the board, and he learned me a lot, but not only because he had knowledge, but also I'm a little bit a special person, like most people say. I'm not kind of the inside the box guy. You can't put me in any box. Some people you can put in a box, but for me that's not possible. And he's a little bit the same. So I love that kind of persons to learn because I can relate to them. And of course, a lot of people different. I learned from everyone who I met. But those two people are the major influence in my life.
That's
and my daughter.
Oh, cool.
Because she's a little bit the same like me. She's 6 years old, and she mirrors me a lot.
That's so neat. So I like to ask my authors a question about, their writing journey. Tell us about your journey and what led you to write your series.
My journey. My life journey is a big story. So to highlight some stuff, I experienced a divorce from my parents, depression, addiction, a lot of rejection and loneliness in my life. But in that, I was also a dreamer and a searcher. I like to research stuff, but also to dream. And for me, dreaming is seeing potential in things that doesn't look like there is potential in it. And in that journey, because I'm research and I like to see bigger picture, the bigger context of stuff, I learned and I discovered when I talked to people that I had a lot of wisdom. And for me as a Christian, I got it from God. But people said, how do you know that? And I discovered when big problems, national problems came up, because I also like politics, that I said, but the solution is that. And people say, how do you came up with that? And on a certain moment I began to speak when I was 16, because I stuttered when I was young, very hard. I stuttered a lot. People don't believe that. But also I love writing, and I thought, okay, some people like to listen, but some people like to read. Why, if so much people say I have wisdom, just write it down for them? So I started writing, and it took me 12 years to, I was 18 when I started, I was 30 when I thought I was finished. So it took me 12 years to write down all the principles, but not only the abstract knowledge, but also the practical insights and how you can apply it. Because I think that is key when you write non-fiction for sure. And from there, when I was 30 and we started our organization, I had to rewrite my whole book series, because my book series was on that moment almost 250 pages. But our mainly target audience is 16 till 25 years old. They don't read so much. So that's the reason that in the last 2 years I split my whole book up, rewrite it into small pocket books, because I thought, okay, but I need to reach people. And that's one of the reasons that I write, is not because, of course I like writing, but I mainly write because I want to achieve something. I want to help others. I want to inspire them. I want to give them practical principles to live the best life, to live the dreams, to live fearless despite the circumstances. So that's a little bit about my journey.
So you mentioned that you have a passion for young people.
Yeah.
And I think as we look at our society today, I just read somewhere that young people in this society are really, really impacted by social media and what social media is doing to our young people in terms of isolation, in terms of being able to socialize. So what have you noticed as you work with young people, the impact that the media is having on them and their development?
I think two things. But the first, it's one thing with three foods of it. I think the biggest thing that I see in the young generation and with the young people I speak is that because of social media, because of the way Western society, especially Western society works, they built their identity on the wrong foundation. They built their identity on, they need to prove themselves. They need to get a lot of likes, to get a good job, and that's one of the reasons that a lot of young people, they suffer burnout, they suffer depression. So that's one of the biggest things, biggest, how do you say it, biggest loss, because it's a loss, that I see in the youngest generation, and all the other problems they have come from that. And but what does it miss? I don't know for sure in the United States. I have an uncle living there. I think it's a little bit the same like in Holland and in Europe. But healthy fatherhood is something that's not so much available in the lives of young people. And fathers are, out of scientific research, also they are the parent. They give their children the identity, the self-confidence, the healthy self-esteem. And because of that, if you miss that, you want to prove yourself. You want to do something to be someone, and that's one of the things that a lot of young people try to do because they miss healthy fatherhood.
So tell us a little bit about what's life like in your culture right now. I know for us to shut down in America was really hard on people. What was it like for your area?
In the Netherlands, it was a little bit the same. Here in Holland, we have also a saying, and I changed it a little bit, but they say that we were 10 years behind the United States. But the way I know the United States and Holland, I say we were 2 years behind you, and that's in the good stuff, but also in the bad stuff. But you see in the lockdown that we have a prime minister, and you know, with this, I never thought I would be a leader, but leadership is all about serving and all about giving vision to your people and seeing way much ahead of what they see. Most people, they look what is happening today for me, and as a leader you look ahead and you look further. And we have a prime minister, a leader, and he is a little bit more like a manager. He looks at what's happening today, and a lot of complainings came in Holland to the lockdown and the crisis, the COVID crisis. One of the most complaints was, we want perspective, we want vision. Because one of his sayings before Corona was, vision is like how do you say it? Vision is like a window. What was it now? Vision is like a window where you can't look to, when you can't go. And what was it? It was some stupid saying. I forgot it already, but it was a little bit like, vision is a stupid thing to do, and you don't need vision as a leader. And we miss that a lot, and a lot of complaints come, and a lot of people, one out of 4 people in Holland, they believe in the conspiracy theories. We have also a political party, 2 political parties, they were Trump fans. They're spreading conspiracy theories, also about now the Russia-Ukraine war. So, but the thing is, what you see is that a lot of people, they don't have the sense of meaning anymore. You know, in the 60s, people were raised up with religion. I don't say religion is the best, but it gave them a sense of meaning. And because we get more secular, and I think the United States a little bit the same like that, people still want meaning in their life. So they're gonna search it other places, and I don't say for sure because I'm not the one who want to judge that it's bad. The searching is for sure not bad. I don't say that everything they find is bad, but a lot of things where they came up with, I think, but that's not the meaning that you want. That's not where you need to search. It's so much deeper. You need, yeah, and that came up. We see also a lot of fear in society. The Netherlands is a society of control, and the root of control is fear. So we saw that in the last 2 years, right now, I guess.
Yeah.
2 years, 2 years already. So I think that you can relate a little bit like in the United States as in Holland.
Yeah, I think we saw that studies were saying that for our young people, they lost what you mentioned, kind of a sense of purpose and meaning in their life because of the lockdowns, because of the lack of communication and interaction with people. And what people were searching for more than anything else was, how do I get that sense of purpose back in my life? And now the new study says that people are in America are at an all-time low in their belief in God. So you've lost purpose, but you've also lost a sense of who you are, because our faith is the grounding of who we are.
Yeah, true. And it's the same in Holland. We because and some people say and about the United States when I came in church, they said, but in the United States they go all to church. But in Holland, a lot of people go to church. But if you go to McDonald's, it don't make you a hamburger. So the same as with church. You can go to church, but it doesn't make you a Christian. It doesn't make you that you got that sense of meaning. It can be, but that's not for sure. That's the same. You can have a ring, but it doesn't make that you are married. The outside things are good to see, but it doesn't. It can say something about your meaning, your stuff, and all, and everything what's inside. But in the same way, it can say nothing at all. So, and in Holland, we like to look only at the outside things. That's a little bit the culture. Just look at the symptoms and try to solve the symptoms instead of solving the root and solving the real problem of it. And that's all in the identity. It's all in stop with proving yourself, be who you are, your word like you are, without doing nothing at all. And that's crazy. Let's be honest, in our Western society.
Right, exactly. So I'm dying to ask you what this means. You have down there that you are the dream expert. Explain to us what that means.
I thought a little bit also about history, and until I was 30, I'm not 32, I just speak about a lot of topics and a lot of business coaches, and they say, but you need to choose one and be expert in that. But in the topics I experienced that I still inspire a lot of people, and they want also those topics. So I think 2 years ago I thought, what is that common ground? And the thing was, but dreaming, that's something that goes so naturally. What I said, for me, dreaming is knowing your dream is your purpose, is your calling, is your mission. You can call it how you want your cause. And dreaming is just, and to begin to dream, when you dream, you see things that are not yet there. It's a little bit like faith. Yeah, you see it and you know it's there, but people around you don't see it. You see potential where there is no potential. And I do that naturally. I don't have to think about it, even though when I do nothing, I'm dreaming. And I do that since I was a little child. So 2 years ago, I said to my team, I think the common ground is dreaming. And my team said, yeah, but you're the dream expert. You do that naturally, and you are the one who can learn it to others because they need to do that. And that's the way I become the dream expert. And being expert for me means because I do it without, nobody learned me to dream. Some people need to learn it. Nobody learned it to me. I do it naturally, and because of that, I can learn it to others.
So what you're saying is you help people find out what their dream in life to be is. So help them find their potential. See, I was going to tell you my dream last night was and have you interpret it like Joseph did in the Bible, but that's not what you mean.
No, that's not exactly what I mean. Of course, there are moments that it can happen. I don't say I can't, but that's not my mainly focus. But what I see also in called ministry, called work, called my calling, my dream. What I see I'm now 16 years traveling on the road and doing stuff and all kinds of stuff. That through the periods and the phases and the needs that are in the decade that I'm living and that I'm working, my focus is also a little bit shifting. Because when I was 16 and I began to preach and speak, I talk a lot about faith and stand firm in faith. That was one of my main focus in everything I did. Later on, it was grace and unconditional love. And I see now in the last, I'm now 32, last 6 years, it's dreaming, it's also what I said about identity, get people in a place where they stop proving themselves. Because one of for our organization mainly target audience is young people, but I also do a lot of leaders meetings, potential leaders, and I say always, if you are not in that place that when you do nothing, you can be happy and you can compliment yourself and you can love yourself, do nothing. Not yet. You're not yet ready to be a leader. You're not yet ready to be an entrepreneur or someone who wants to learn others, because an entrepreneur is also someone who is a leader. Because that's so important. If you don't do that, if that's not the place where you are, you're gonna be like a Saul instead of David.
I get that. That makes sense. I would say one of the things I do best in my work is I help organizations figure out their purpose, so their vision. So I could call myself the vision expert.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know, the thing is, and I love that the most, that 2 years ago, I didn't came up with the title, because for me, still, I have a master's degrees in theology and I have all this kind of stuff. And people ask me always, how do we need to call you when I go to church to preach, or do I need to call you back? I said, you know, the name that God has given me is Ricardo. But if you want to call me some title, do whatever you feel like, you know. It doesn't matter for me, the title, it doesn't matter what people think, because, and that's for me a big victory. Because I was addicted to the approval of man, because I missed my father, I get a lot of rejection. So for me is that the shifting from addicted to approval of man to, of course I like it when someone compliments me, but if they don't, if they threaten me, if they reject me, I don't feel bad at all. And that's not something I make up, but I can lay on my couch for a whole day, watch Netflix, and at the end of the day I say to myself, I'm proud of you, Ricardo, it was a useful day. The people said, but you didn't do anything. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm useful not because I do stuff. I'm useful because I am someone.
Right.
And that's enough. And that's such a shifting of mind. And as a Western society, we need to go to that place. Even Jesus did go there. Because when he got baptized, and I say to a lot of people, even non-Christians, I say that historical Jesus was living. So even though you don't believe in him, he was living. Until the moment he got baptized, he didn't do anything at all. Maybe he made a mistake in the workplace of Joseph, and then he with working and stuff, but he didn't do any miracles, big stuff. And God said to him, "This is my beloved son in whom I am well pleased." That's strange in a Western society, because when do we give a compliment? When someone do stuff. But Jesus didn't do stuff, and he get the confirmation and the approval without doing stuff. And that was so important for his ministry. That's why he needed to get baptized and all kinds of stuff, to get that approval before you do stuff. And for us, it's the same.
That's great. So, Ricardo, I'm going to give you a chance to offer my audience your book, and you said you had a deal for them. You want to share the deal with the audience?
Yeah. Like I said, I write a book, and we are now busy with the first 3 books of the 16-part series are already out. Later on this year, the next 3 books, and later on, so I'm still busy with rewriting some stuff. But the first 2 books, The System of Success, the Root of Fear, and The Message of the Cross, are already out on Amazon. And they're very cheap, pocket, very easy to read and practice. And I want to offer to your audience, your beautiful audience, because if your audience is so nice as you are, then I know for sure they will be beautiful. We want to offer it for a 40% discount per book for the next 3 months. But then they need, and I think it will be all in the show notes. I see that they don't make this. Yeah, no. It will be in the show notes, but then they need to order to books.fearlessgeneration.nl, and the special discount code that will be in the show notes for the upcoming 3 months. So it's exclusive, and in dollars, I know out of my head, normally it's $5.35, and now for $3.21 per book, so it's very cheap. And one thing I always say in the first chapter of my first book, the chapter called The Basic of Change, and I learned that the basic of change is stop with changing yourself. So, and through the whole book series, I take people on a journey to my own life experience with knowledge, but also with practical stuff, but without forcing people to change, because I don't believe in, I need to change myself, I need to change myself. I don't believe in that. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. It's like putting some cream on you, but when it's gone, you're still the same. But I try to, it's a saying from my mother, but I want to put people in an environment that they get an environment where they get changed, because people become like the people who you hang around with. The choices you made will change you. Not because you want to change, but if you hang the whole day with a bunch of drugs addicts, and you do that for 4 years, I know for sure you're going to use drugs. And maybe also addicted too, because you hang around with them. That's one of the things that I say, when you find your dreams, and that's what I try to do also through the books, every choice you made, align it with that dream. The wife or the husband you choose, the place where you want to live, the work that you choose, the friends that you choose, because if you go that way and they go that way, you will never accomplish your dream, not because they're bad, but because they have another calling in life. My first question when I met my girlfriend was, how do you see your life in 10 years if everything was possible? And I let her describe it in a very detailed way. If she came up with a story that I was thinking, oh my God, this is my worst nightmare, we would never start dating at all. Not because she's not beautiful, not because she's not nice, but I think we can be happy together because you weren't then there and I wasn't there. But because she had a dream where she wanted to go that's in the same direction as me, I thought, okay, we can run together because we run in the same direction. And the friends that I choose, the teams, everything I do, I align it. I want people to the books to get into the line again. I want them. I try to get them in an environment where they naturally change without knowing that they've changed. And on a certain moment, they can look backward and say, "I don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore. I don't do," without knowing, and still they changed. And that's the best change you can have.
Oh, that's great. So I will put the link in the show notes and the code as well. And Ricardo, thank you for what you do, and just thanks for being on the show. And God bless you what you're doing.
Yeah, and thank you too for what you're doing. And it was a privilege to be on this beautiful show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining us this week on From Mess to Miracle. Make sure you visit our website at https://frommesstomiracle.buzzsprout.com. You can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts, so you never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, I would appreciate a rating on iTunes. If you simply like to tell a friend about the show, you will help us get the message out to bless more people. If you like this show, you might want similar content. You can follow my blog at www.alightbreakthrough.org. Be sure to tune in 2 weeks from now for our next episode. Just remember, out of our messiness, God makes miracles.